Hi, and welcome to another episode of All Things Considered. In my last video, I was discussing Mayor Jenny Durkin of Seattle, how she wanted to do a probe into the way accountability is handled within the police department. And she had several people on a citizens panel that told her, no, you can't do that. But here is an explanation of why the police department got into trouble in the first place. The Chief Justice of Seattle, the Attorney General of the state of Washington and several judges had talked to them about checking in on them on their police accountability issues. They are showing no accountability for the actions of their police officers. One of the police officers had detained a woman. She was in handcuffs, and yeah, it was wrong for her to have kicked the police officer. Basically, as he was putting her into the squad car, she kind of kicked at him a little bit because, you know, she was just being unruly, so to speak. Well, the police officer socked her in the face. So hard that it almost busted her eye out. And he was fired because of public outcry. He wasn't fired because he had done a bad job or that he had done something illegal, or he wasn't fired because of what he had done. He was fired because the citizens had made such an uproar that the police department decided to fire him. Well, when they weren't looking, when the city wasn't looking, the police department secretly hired him back and put him back onto active duty. Well, here it says the Seattle police chief overturns a misconduct finding against officer who allowed excessive dog bite. I don't know exactly how to respond to that one, because she kind of reminds me of that sheriff. Well, I think his name was David Clark. Kinda, yeah. It says here, Seattle Police Chief Carmen Best has overturned. Got notifications popping in. I need to turn the volume down. Seattle Police Chief Carmen Best has overturned a misconduct finding against a K-9 officer who broke department rules when he let his police dog bite a robbery suspect's arm for more than 30 seconds. After the man had been taken to the ground, newly released records show. This kind of reminds me of Donald Trump saying, "That's fake news. That's fake news. It's all fake. Everything's fake. It didn't happen. The molestation that I did of that little girl, yeah, it never happened, although there's proof that shows that I did it. I'm saying it didn't happen. It's fake news." That's kind of what this reminds me of. Disclaimer, I have no idea for sure, absolutely no idea that Donald Trump molested any young girl. I use that as an analogy. Please do not put comments saying I need to back it up. I'm telling you, I haven't the slightest idea if it happened, but if it did, it would have been fake news, according to Donald Trump. So here it says that the dog stayed on the man for more than 30 seconds. The unarmed man told the officer, "I surrender, sir." He pleaded again, "Please, sir, please," and said, "I'm sorry." According to a department official's description of the July 20th, 2018 incident, the officer responded, "Don't fuck with my dog. And don't move," as the man continued to yell in pain. Trying to protect himself, the police officer allowed the dog to keep biting the guy that had just committed the robbery. Yes, the robbery was bad. It's wrong to steal. But it's also wrong for you to sick your dog on somebody because you're pissed off at that person for making you do your job. The chief's decision comes at a time when the department's ability to hold officers accountable for misconduct has drawn close scrutiny. That's one thing I would like to discuss if I ever get the chance to run for mayor in Seattle in 2025. I will keep an eye on what the police department's doing between now and then. And when the day comes, the shit will hit the fan. The chief's decision comes at a time when the department's ability to hold officers accountable for misconduct has drawn close scrutiny, including a federal judge's ruling that the department had fallen partly out of compliance. Fallen partly? You have fallen completely off the wagon, my friend, and fell into a mud puddle. They have partly fallen out of compliance with court-ordered reforms. The court orders you to do something and you say, fuck you, I ain't doing it. I'm the chief of police here. These are my officers, and you ain't going to tell me what to do. Although the unidentified officer violated department policy, he acted on a very specific training he had previously received that allowed him to wait for a backup officer to arrive before releasing the dog. Come on now, you got a fucking brain here. You've got a conscience. If that was you, would you like having a dog sinking their teeth into your arm until backup came? No. The guy's begging and pleading for his life. You scared the holy shit out of him now. He ain't going to do nothing. He ain't going to try to run because he knows you'll sick the dog on him, and the dog will tear his ass up, so he's complying with you. I don't want you to say that this is what I was taught. Fuck what you were taught. You have a brain and you have a conscience, goddammit. You need to use that. I'm sorry for all the cursing, but it warrants it because I'm proving a point here. I'm dragging things into a box. This makes me angry at the military too. You have a conscience, but you're not allowed to use your conscience. You have a brain. You're not allowed to use your brain. If you know an order is bad and you disobey the order, you get in trouble for that. And if the order is to kill everybody in front of you and you follow orders, you can get in trouble for that too. So you're in a catch-22 there. It says here, although the unidentified, okay, the civilian director, best informed the mayor, Jenny Durkin, the city council, and other city officials in a July 30th letter made public Monday on the department's internal investigations website. And made public on, I clicked on the letter, the word letter. When it's highlighted, that usually takes you to where the letter would be at if it's highlighted. But it took me right back to the same website that I was at. Okay, it says here, city council officials in July made public on the department's internal investigative website. The civilian director of the department's Office of Police Accountability, Andrew Meyerberg, had found the initial use of the dog to stop a fleeing felony suspect was reasonable. The suspect had been seen with several other men kicking an older man during a theft of a cell phone. Meyerberg wrote in a detailed case summary. However, once the subject was on the ground, had surrendered, and was no longer physically resisting, it was not proportional to allow the canine to continue biting the subject for nearly 30 seconds. Meyerberg concluded. Well, it was probably more than 30 seconds. 30 seconds can be a long time when you're talking. You can put an awful lot of words in 30 seconds. But 30 seconds can go by very quickly when you're being bit by a dog. And I believe it was more than 30 seconds because there's no way that the officer could have timed himself. He didn't pull out his stopwatch and take a look and say, oh, I'm going to start now, and whenever backup comes, I will stop, because it took more than 30 seconds for backup to show up. The man was treated at a hospital where stitches were required for puncture wounds. Department policy states that when a bite occurs, the handler should, as rapidly as possible, determine if the suspect is armed and call off the dog, and first possible moment the canine can be safely released. If the suspect is unarmed, the handler shall order the canine immediately to release the bite, according to the police department, but the police officer did not do that. And the chief of police seemed to think that's okay. Well, she's got a couple of things going in her favor, because now we're all up with women. Women empowerment. And she's a woman. And then we can't come down on African Americans now because we will be considered racist and we'll be considered bad people if we say they're doing something that's not right. Citizens cannot just be citizens. People cannot just be people now. We have to separate everybody into different classes. We have to separate whites into white classes, blacks into black classes, and if whites say anything against black people when they do something wrong, we're considered racist. And if the white folks do something wrong and black folks complain about it, they're considered just people that are complaining all the time. Why can't it be you did something bad and you got called on it? It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter where you came from. If you do something that's illegal, or you do something that's morally bad, or you do something that's horrible, then you're just a person that did something bad, and you go to jail for it. But in today's society, we cannot do that. As a white male, actually I'm half Native American and half Israeli, but I pass as a white male to people that look at me. So, as a white male, I am unable to condone or to condemn anything that she does as the chief of police because, one, she's a woman, and two, she's black. So no matter what I do, I'm a male that's white going against a woman that's black. It doesn't matter that what she's doing is harmful to the city. It doesn't matter that what she's doing is allowing her police officers to run amok. That doesn't matter. Although it should matter. Now, if I was a white male and she was a white female police officer, I would just get in trouble for coming down on her because she's a woman. Oh, well, if it was a man, you'd probably be okay with it. But because she's a woman, you're going to come down on her? No. This is the chief of police. It's not a female chief of police. It's not a male chief of police. It is just the chief of police for the Seattle city. The chief of police allowed the police officers on the force to run amok and have no accountability for their actions. Female police, male police, it doesn't matter. When you are a police officer and you put on a uniform and you swear an oath to uphold the rights of the citizens and to protect the citizens and to protect the state and the city that you're in, whatever oath that you took to become a police officer, and you do not follow that oath, you deserve to get fired. Not fired and then rehired. It says here, ultimately, I agree with the OPA director, and it did violate policy, Best added. I am also mindful, however, that the officers are regularly called upon to maintain often highly dynamic circumstances that they must rely heavily on their training to do so. Well, the training needs to change. This is not the 70s. You're not Serpico, and you're not going after the French Connection here. Citing her full respect and appreciation to OPA and its thorough, fair investigation, Best changed the findings to not sustained. while referring to the officer for additional training. If she had sustained the findings, the next step would have been to determine the appropriate disciplinary action for the officer. Well, you're protecting your own, aren't you? When it says to protect and serve, is it protect and serve the police or protect and serve the citizens of Seattle? Seattle was a once great and vibrant city. It was gorgeous. It was beautiful to look at. It was great to be in, and the people were fun, and they would say hello at the drop of a hat, and how are you doing? People open the doors for people. If an older lady was having a hard time with her bags, there'd be somebody to help her carry her bags across the street. You know, if she needed a taxi, or if he needed a taxi, somebody would flag one down for you. Seattle used to be like that. It ain't like that anymore. The police, you used to have fun seeing them on the street. Hello, how's it going? Oh, we're doing great. How are you? They would chat with each other. You know, it was just beautiful. You'd stop post office guy out there delivering mail. Oh, hey, how you doing? Oh, I'm good. How are you doing? You know, there was no polar freeze there like there is now. Seattle used to be a great place to live. Now back to this. Meyerberg found the officer had other opinions, including using his gun as cover. Oh, he had other options. Meyerberg found the officer had other options, including using his gun as cover or threatening to release the dog again. Instead, the officer allowed the canine, and it's a canine dog. You're responding to a robbery. What do you need a canine dog for? A canine unit is for drugs. It's supposed to be for drugs. That's why they're there. They're trained to go after drug dealers and drug users. Right? Police officers go after people that have robbed. At least that's the way I see it. I could be wrong here. Meyerberg wrote, noting the man wasn't wearing a shirt and had no bulging pockets nor any other signs of a weapon. Best, in her letter, said the department had been working on a new canine policy that will include specific language governing when officers are to release the canine's bite. In addition, the department's inspector general will conduct an audit of the canine unit. 13 dog handlers, including the involved officer, have been sent for outside training on best practices, Best wrote. A deputy chief also met with the members of the canine unit to reiterate the department's expectations on the use of canines according to the letter that was written. Now, I'm going to write the chief of police and I'm going to ask her what the hell is going on. I'm done writing the mayor and I'm done writing the city council because they're kind of getting tired of my letters. I'm holding their feet to the fire way too much. But the chief of police hasn't heard the last of me. She'll hear the first of me coming up this week, but she won't hear the last of me until the police officers have better accountability going on. And I'm going to tell them that in 2025, I'm running for mayor, and I'm going to hold everybody accountable. Anybody that is supposed to protect the city and have the well-being of the city, I will hold you accountable. I will. You got my word on that. If you like my videos, please put a like and subscribe down at the bottom. If my cursing bothers you, please tell me. Put it in a comment. Let me know. Say it turns you off. I'll do the best I can to curb it. But I only use curse words when I'm trying to drive home a point. When it gets my dander up. Once that happens, I'll let out a curse word. But for the most part, I try to keep it civil, and I try not to lose my anger and raise my voice. But if you like my videos, put a like, a thumbs up, and hit the bell for subscribe. If you have an idea for a video, please put it in the comments. If you don't think that I did a good job, let me know. Let me know what you thought I did wrong and how I can fix it. If you have an idea for a video for next time, put it in the comments. I'd love to talk to you about it. Also, if you have gotten nothing out of my videos, just say, hey, I don't understand your videos. They don't make any sense. They're too long, whatever. Put it in a comment. I ain't mad at you. If you have ideas on what is going on with the police department in Seattle, please let me know. I would love to hear that too. This has been All Things Considered. Have a good night, Seattle, and all points beyond.